You've seen the man cave, had a tour of Luddenham Raceway in his Cayanne and his 996 race car. In the final instalment, we sit down with Ron Goodman to hear about his first car, Dream Garage, and listen to him casually talk about a story about the time he overtook an Alfa TZ-1 after it got boxed in by two GTO Ferraris coming down the corkscrew at Leguna Seca. When we featured Ernie's 356, it was great to see it on the street, in the rain, driven. Ron takes it one step further by pushing the 1954 bent windscreen 356 to the limit. We hope you enjoy this episode as we sit down with one of Australia's true gentleman drivers, Ron Goodman.
Ron, thanks for your time.
No worries at all, mate. Thank you.
I've driven this car all around the world. Are there any cars that really sort of give you a really good challenge in it?
Thinking of it, maybe the Alfa TZ-1. Inboard discs, aluminium wheels, aluminium chassis, and it's fast. And I remember at Leguna Seca, it took me a while to get past him, and the only reason I got past him was coming down this corkscrew. He got boxed in by two GTO Ferraris, and all I could think was, fuck, I'm
on here.
I've got it. I'm going around the outside no matter what.
Story.
You want a really good story?
Yes, I do.
An RSK, which is a very, very, very rare Porsche. Brian Redmond, iconic race driver. He was driving the RSK from the museum. We all come into the last turn at Leguna Seca. It was a Congo line because it was a restart. So everyone pulls up, and I'm watching in the back, and the guy from me's got, so I went a little bit further and poof, into the back of this RSK. I could just see him waddle down there. Anyway, the green flag dropped. I dropped to the left him to go past, and all I remember seeing is this big dent in the back of this RSK. And I thought, yeah, with this car. I thought, my God, I'm dead. Because I know how much the car's worth. Anyway, after the race, I went up to him, and Brian said to me, he says, yeah, I felt the bumps, and man, I felt bad because there was a big dent in it. He goes, there's a conga line, there wasn't much you could do. Everyone just stopped, and it was because we were so far up. Anyway, he signed an autograph for a friend of mine, and he put on there, thank you Aussies for the great bump. So anyway, awesome. He remembers me is because I rammed him up.
You rammed him, yeah. That would be one of, but what do you reckon is the most expensive car you've raced against?
The Ferrari GTO, the 250. And the guy that drives it, he owns Walmart, he's not a bad guy. He's pretty down to earth. I think if you put more of a aggressive driver in there, we wouldn't be beating them. I get a lot of pleasure out of beating those guys. Yeah.
Racing will do that to you, right? Like, as much as we talk about it, it'll give you the ego, but at the same time, it'll strip you back down as well. You know,
absolutely. Yeah.
All the money in the world, if you can't steer, you know, you got no chance. You know.
Well, Bathurst, you know, the big thing about Bathurst, everybody says that it's a heartbreaker. We went through it. We were up there first time in this car, and just everything went wrong. Drive shafts broke, this broke. We were lucky enough to get 4 laps in, and during those 4 laps we broke the class record by 33 seconds. So we're happy with that. You know what I mean? So you walk away on a high, but you've got all your material is broken. Like, everything's broken. You're still walking away with a high. So
you've got to use factory drive shafts and
correct,
things?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that's why you're breaking it.
Yeah.
So if I gave you an unlimited budget, just talk me through, what would be the first 5 things you'd modify on this car?
It's not the budget, it's the racing that you're allowed to run. You know?
Yeah.
It's not so much the budget. That's just, if we had open slather, like we could do whatever we wanted to it without keeping within the rules, the drums would go. We'd have disc brakes made out of titanium. The suspension would be out of titanium. The drive shafts would be out of titanium. The exhaust system, well, it's out of Inconel, but we'd still make it out of Inconel.
I don't even know what Inconel is. Can you run me through what that is?
Inconel is one of your strongest, lightest metals. Formula One use it for their exhaust systems. And if you look at the exhaust system, if you put it on the ground in a windy day, it'd roll away.
Wow.
That's how light Inconel is.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's the big brother of titanium?
Yeah, it's a titanium, but it's super, super, super light.
There you go.
Yeah.
Learn things. See, this you're learning things. Bit of science for you. So we've taken the rules away, but we've still got the rules. You've got to be a certain age car. What are you doing to that motor?
Not much else we could do to it. Yeah, maybe Gary would change it to injection or something like that, if we could run that, but he'd only tweak it because we've taken it right to the limit as it is. That's with our class, you're allowed to do whatever you want internally. You just can't change too much on the outside. So he'd probably change the pickups on the head where the injection comes in, that sort of stuff.
So let's go. We'll go to the very start and we'll work our way through. I want to talk about 17-year-old, maybe even younger, 17-year-old Ron Goodman. Tell us about your first car.
My very first unregistered car was an EK Holden. My grandfather gave it to me, and we weren't allowed to drive it on the road, and had no exhaust system on it. But we used to push it up, and we lived near Banks Bush. The kids would push it up the road, and we were told we had to push it up the road and then into the bush. We got out of our driveway, and we didn't think our dad could hear it, but we'd start it up and drive it from there with the noise.
No exhaust.
No exhaust, no nothing. We'd drive it up the bush and we'd paddy bash it. That was my first one, my very, very first car. Then after that I had a Mini Minor. And then from there a plethora of different sorts of cars. And then once I got into Porsches, there was nothing else.
So what ignited the spark of Porsche?
I think it was about 19 when I got my first Porsche. I actually traded in, probably 20 in my 20s. I traded in my WB Ute for a 930 at the time, 930 body car, and mate, didn't look back. Rebuilt it, didn't look back, and loved it. Loved it.
Were you looking at that point? Were you starting to think about motor racing, or were you just knew you wanted the Porsche?
No, I was motor racing. I was doing speedway in a HK Monaro. Now imagine, and that was in like in stock cars, so that you get them banged up every week. Like imagine doing that now to one of them.
Yep, absolutely. Where did you start out in racing?
Liverpool Speedway.
Liverpool Speedway.
Yeah, Liverpool Speedway. Done a lot of the dirt tracks around Tralee, Canberra, everywhere else. Then from Liverpool Speedway in the stock cars went to the Grand Nationals. Then as soon as NASCAR hit Australia, we're in. You know what I mean? Like you sold whatever you had to be able to get yourself a NASCAR, and it was really the best form of motorsport that I've ever done.
How fast do you go while driving?
Yeah, it's an average speed of around about 320 kilometres an hour. And we're doing between 310 to 340 down the back straight, and usually around about 240 through the corners. It's good fun, it's thrilling. You should know, you've been around with us a few times now. Even on that last run just then, you just seem to be completely and utterly relaxed, whereas before, you were a bundle of nerves on your first time.
But then when it died in Australia, we had to look for something else, so along come the historic race cars. And haven't looked back since.
So when you're running at Liverpool Speedway, did you just notice that you happened to have a bit of a talent for motor racing? How did that all happen?
I think every race car driver thinks that they've got a talent for racing a car.
But some people have the trophies to back it up, right? You know.
Yeah. And the more you drive, and the better your chances. When you win a race, all of a sudden you do think that you're the best. But no, I get a thrill from motor racing. Absolutely love it. But it's not just the racing. I like building them. You get a lot of pleasure from knowing that you've built that car from scratch, and then you take it out and you beat everybody else in that car.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So going into when you're talking about building cars, can we just do 30 seconds on Exclusive Bodywerks?
Exclusive Bodywerks is factory authorised for Porsche, for Aston Martin, Rolls-Royce, McLaren. We just do the upper echelon of the cars. So we get cars shipped in from all around the world. We've had a 959 come from England. We've had cars come out of America. We've flown to Korea to fix a car, a Rolls Royce. Yeah,
Wow.
so, yeah, it's opened up a lot of doors for us, repairing the high-end cars. And it's something that you've got to have a good crew at, and I'm blessed I've got a good crew. Most of my guys have been with me 10 years plus, so they know that the way that I like to do things has been instilled into them. So they'll be here for another 10 years if I am anyway. So
You're talking about owners that love their cars and they want, you know, the best quality work done. Absolutely. So give me, what would you say would be the rarest car that you've worked on?
Jeez. We had to do a prototype one year for the Sydney Motor Show. That was a one-of before electric cars come out with all the electric stuff and that on them. That was bring it in under darkness, repair it under darkness, sign all these waivers and then send it back out under darkness.
Yeah.
You know. That was probably the most covert sort of car that we've ever done, yeah.
What manufacturer was that for?
I had to sign a confidentiality.
You can't say. We'll get it out of him one day.
Because it got damaged, so we had to fix it
Wow.
up urgently to, when it come off the dock.
I know that was the rarest car. What would be your favourite or most memorable car that you've worked on?
356s.
Yep.
I noticed that you had Ernie's car on here too. We've done that one. I get a lot of pleasure out of doing 356s and early Porsches. Repairing new model Porsches, yes, it's satisfying, but it doesn't give you that deep down pleasure. Restoring something back to its original form or individualising it for the owner is my go-to. That I love.
Yeah.
We've spent a lot of time building one at the moment for Channel 7. We're just about finished that. We're getting it into paint shop now. I'll show you on the way back.
This is the car we're talking about that's getting put together for Channel 7. It's all the stories these cars would tell, where your right hand is there, you know, all the different
All the
things that have
background,
happened over the years. Someone's installed a speaker here, have they, you reckon?
No, that's standard.
No, but you see how they've got the drill holes all through this?
Here?
You know?
Someone drilled it to try and put it there.
You're drilling into a Porsche.
We've taken out the crash pad. We've got rid of all these switches. We're just going to have the 3 gauges.
Beautiful.
Then up here will be your on, your fuel pumps, your headlights, and then your starter button all up top of here.
Oh, that's magic. You can run the cables down through the...
Yeah, we've already made the hole down inside there.
Magic. That's so cool. This is going to be a race car?
Now it's going to be pure race bred, but more or less like you said with that open slather.
Yeah.
We've had the guys in Adelaide, we've designed a 3-cylinder, 200 horsepower aeroplane engine for it.
Yeah, and as you said with your Mustang, it's the features that people don't even notice. And they go, I like the look of that, but I don't know what's happened there. And you've taken out the bolts and you've just tidied it up and made the panel gaps perfect.
It's everything that you ever build is always in the detail, and the better the detail, the less chance someone's seeing it until you point it out to them, and then all of a sudden they go, wow, as you just said, that's why it looks better, you know.
Yeah.
It's a 1954 bent windscreen, pretty rare car as it is. This one not only wins races, but it also wins car shows. Yeah. So we take it to car shows in America, it wins the car show on the Thursday and then wins the races on the Sunday.
Yeah, proper driven, you know, not trailer, we'll trail it in there, but, you know, actually then taken on the racetrack, yeah. Yep.
This car's built completely to the Australian rules. We run a 60mm drum on the front instead of like a 30mm, so it's a wider drum brake. Fuel system's all standard with an upgraded fuel tank. The interior is completely standard, but we put a roll cage through it to stiffen it up. The car is exactly how it ran back in 1954. We're allowed to do any work on the internals of the engine. My engine builder is pretty switched on, so we're always looking for new ways. But unfortunately, if you look over there, sometimes we have problems.
Hello. Yes.
Something lets go. And our transmissions, we have Albans in Australia. They make all our gears for our transmissions. And it's the quickest 54 Pre-A in the world. That's what the Americans call it. And we just took it out to Bathurst. We'd never run Bathurst. It is now the fastest 356 to ever lap Bathurst. And it broke the lap record for its class by 33 seconds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a really good little car.
That's amazing. Boxing kangaroo again here. That is the coolest little icon. I love that. Yeah.
The windows are made out of Perspex.
Yep.
To keep the weight down. So we use bolts to hold them in.
Yep.
Same as the back window we make out of Perspex. These aluminium pieces that we make here are to stop the window in case it gets pressure inside there popping out. But it also acts as twofold. It allows air to get down into the ventilation for the carburetors.
Yeah. So I can see through.
The engine's out of it.
I was going to say. Yeah. Who is your engine builder, like in-house, or is he working out of?
No, he works for himself.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Then he specialises in the,
Yeah.
So does he do dubs as well, or is he mostly Porsche?
No, he does mostly Porsche, and it's mainly a hobby for him. He's got a second job.
Okay.
So it's mainly just a hobby for him, and he does a good job at it.
Yeah. So this front, is this glass at the front?
Yeah, that's glass.
That's the one bit of glass there.
Yeah, that's a genuine Porsche windscreen.
So you can get them new?
Yeah, we certainly can.
I was going to say that's a real special piece of glass right there with the bent curve front under there.
And if you look at the dash, we've had a few people sign the dash as well.
Oh wow! Who am I looking at?
Rod Emery in America.
Yep.
The guy that won Le Mans.
The name Derek Bell sounds familiar. It may be because he won the 24 Hour of Le Mans 5 times. Or more likely, if you're watching this, it was because he was Alan Moffat's co-driver in the iconic Group C RX-7 at Bathurst in '81.
What's the this in the middle here?
That's an actual radio. We took a picture of it. That's what goes in there originally. And the radio weighs a ton. So we just took a three-dimensional picture and put it in there so it still looks original. If you look up under here too, you'll see how we got the roll cage in with the trim.
So this, that's beautiful. You can see how you win shows, right, when you're doing that sort of stuff. Going to the extra effort.
I'll show you under the front with the fuel system.
Yeah, beautiful. So what class is it called that you run in?
Group SA here in Australia.
Group SA. Yep.
And it's Group 2 in America.
Okay. Beautiful. All right, where to next? Where we go? It's a redundant question, but I'm going to ask it. If I gave you an unlimited budget, which
there you go, right there.
This is it. I was going to say,
That one has been built with an unlimited budget.
Unlimited budget. You couldn't change a thing on it, could you? Because you've built it to the specifications of the thing.
We've even we had special titanium bolts made for it. And then the titanium bolts were drilled out. We have gone over and above on that car, but stuck to the rules and stuck to the spirit. We actually had one of the guys in America compared me to Smokey, somebody or other, that used to build NASCARs and build them to the rule, but so close to the rule that it could be concepted both ways. And that's how they said this car is.
I love that. So just an aside here, if you want to go on a deep dive, there's some amazing videos about all the things that used to go on in motor racing back in the day. Smokey Yunick is the guy they're talking about. My favourite story is that when they regulated the size of the fuel tanks, they didn't actually mention how much fuel line you had to use. So Smokey installed 11 feet of fuel line, giving the car an extra 5 gallons of fuel. To ask this question, this is my 220th time asking it. This is the only time that I think I'm actually sitting in the garage where you say, you've got your own, what kind of cars are you parking in your garage? But if I gave you an unlimited budget, you could go anywhere in the world, get any car you wanted. What's one car that you would bring back and park in here?
917 Porsche. 917 Porsche to me is just the pinnacle. It's beautiful. It's better than the 906, which I don't like to say, but I'd probably go and get a 917.
917.
Yeah.
Give me one more. You got more money. Come on, you've brought the 917 back. You're going out again. What else are you bringing back?
Go and get a 908, which is the one after this one. I like my 60s and 70s top race cars. I really love them. Anyone can get a street car and drive it on the road. But to get an old race car that's in really good condition and drive that on the track, that's my go-to. Yeah.
So is that where the love sort of? Where did you originally sort of see these Porsches around?
I'd always seen them around, but when you actually got to take one on the track, and you've got an old car that's beating newer cars, it gives you self-satisfaction. It goes back to what I was saying before, to have something that shouldn't be going so fast, and you know that you're not cheating, you know that you haven't done anything outside the rules, and it's pissing people off. That's what I love.
Ron, you're a legend. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
At all, mate. Thank you for coming out, mate.
We want to say a massive thanks to Ron for giving up his time to share these cars. Make sure you're following Speed0023 on Instagram for all the epic Porsche goodness.